Okay, Carla, today we're going to do a shrimp scallopini with some wild rice, and I'm going to start with the wild rice because it takes about 45 minutes to cook, and I'm going to jazz it up a little with some apricots and some walnuts, so I'm going to start with that. For the apricots, I'm just taking some dried apricots and some chopped walnuts. Taking the apricots, we're just going to slice them up into some chunks like that. Put those into the bowl. Okay, and let's put those off to the side. We're going to add those in about halfway through the cooking time. So let me go ahead, the water's ready for the rice, boiling in the background. So let me open this up. I'm doing a double batch of the rice, so I'm going to do 2 cups. About like that. Add that into the boiling water, and I'm just following the cooking directions for the wild rice. Add that into the water and stir that in. Okay, that's going to cook. I'll turn it down to simmer from there. That's going to cook for 45 minutes. Halfway through, I'm going to add the walnut and the apricot mixture to it. Next thing we're going to do is start on the actual chicken itself. Okay, onto the chicken portion. You're going to need some chicken breast, boneless. You're going to need some Italian style breadcrumbs. You need some egg whites, so we'll separate those in a moment. Some chicken broth, some butter, some heavy cream, mushrooms for the mushroom sauce, some salt, my faithful pepper grinder, and some olive oil. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make the egg wash, and then we'll get the breadcrumbs, and then I'll show you what to do with the chicken. Okay, for the egg wash, we're going to separate the egg yolks from the egg whites. And you're going to put 2 teaspoons of water for each egg yolk or each egg white that you're using. I've already got the water in that bowl, so I need to separate these. So carefully. Pull these out. Like that. Alright. There's one. Add that to the water. Okay. There's 2. Notice my eggs have tattoos on them. That's pretty cool. that to the bowl. Alright, then we need to whisk this together a little bit just to get it mixed up. That would be my timer telling me it's time to add the apricots and walnuts to the rice. So let me tackle that. Okay. Alright, so apricots and walnuts are in the rice, so they'll cook for another about 22 minutes. And just keep whisking that together a little bit. Nice and blended well. Okay, there we go. Alright, there's the egg wash. Okay, next thing we need to do is actually take the chicken breast and flatten them out into about 1/4 inch thick pieces. Now, in case you're wondering, how do you take a chicken breast that's nice and plump like that and flatten it out into thin pieces? That's pretty easy. The answer is, it's hammer time. Okay, to flatten out the chicken, I put down a piece of plastic wrap on the board. On the bottom, long piece, we're going to fold it over the top, like that, so that it's protected. And we're going to take the hammer, and we're basically going to pound it out flat. We're going to pound it gently, because we're not out to destroy the chicken, we just want to flatten it. If you don't have a big manly hammer like I do, you can use a rolling pin and flatten it by pounding it with a rolling pin. Rolling pins are very useful. Not only do they roll out dough, they can flatten chicken, and they're also good at using on husbands who get out of line. Growing up in Atlanta, Mom always had a broken rolling pin hanging over the stove, and I never figured out why for a long time. Now I know why. So rolling pin's your next best option. So we're going to take whatever implement you're using, and like I said, we're not out to destroy the chicken, we just want to flatten it. So we're just going to give it a few good pounds there. Notice I'm not beating the crap out of it. Just trying to flatten it out a little bit. You can feel with your fingers until when you got it kind of thinned out and even. That's probably good right there. So you're going to repeat that process with the remaining chicken breast until you get them all that size. Okay, the chicken breasts have now been successfully beaten into submission. So we're going to get ready to bread it and then cook it. So we'll take the egg wash that I made earlier, put it into a platter there. That's going to be the wash, and then we can take the breadcrumbs, put those in the other plate. Spread those out fairly generously. Okay, you take chicken breast, you're going to dip it in the egg wash on both sides, just to give it a good coating, like that. there. They get slippery. Right into the breadcrumbs. I'm going to coat on both sides with the Italian breadcrumbs. Your fingers are going to get messy doing this, so be prepared. Get a good coating of the breadcrumbs on all the way around, even on the sides, like that. Okay. In the pan on the stove, I have 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I've got them on a medium-high heat. You don't want it too hot. You don't want these to burn. And it's just going to go into the oil like that for about 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how thinly you've cooked your pieces, till they're cooked. Flip it over, cook the other side, and repeat that with your other remaining pieces of chicken. Say hello, Pauline. Pauline, say hello. Say hello, Pauline. Yeah, okay. I finished cooking the chicken breast, and what I've done when I cook them and they're done is I put them in a pan. They're in a warm oven set at 170 degrees. So now I'm just going to use the oil and the butter that's still in the pan with all the goody brown bits there, and we're going to make the sauce. So we're going to add the mushrooms. I'm going to saute the mushrooms. Add that in there. The mushrooms will cook down pretty quickly. Get all the good brown and juicy bits up from where we cook the chicken. Put the lid on that for a moment and let that cook down. Okay, the mushrooms have cooked down. I actually had to add a little bit more olive oil and butter to it because they were getting dry, and you don't want these to burn. So they have cooked down now nicely. You see all the brown goody stuff from the bottom is incorporated. So now I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Take the lid off of that. A couple of good grinds of pink Himalayan sea salt. I'm going to add some pepper. Okay. About a cup of chicken broth we're going to add to that mixture. And now I need to bring the heat up a little bit. Bring that back up to a little boil. And while I'm doing this, this, by the way, is something Joseph will eat this, except for the mushroom part, and that's okay because when I cook it, I'll just give him the sauce without the mushrooms, and that'll just be more mushrooms for me, and that's a good thing. Other than that, he'll eat everything else I've got in this. So we got that going. I'll bring it up a little bit more. Then we'll get the rice ready. By the way, Carla, brown rice and wild rice are actually both better for you from a diabetic standpoint of view because they both have a lower glycemic index than white rice. I actually prefer brown rice over white rice anyway. I think it's much better tasting. Has a nuttier flavor to it. So anytime you have a recipe that calls for rice, if you want to make it better for you personally, use brown rice. It won't give you all the carbs and the glycemic index that regular white rice will have. Okay, bringing that up. Now I'm going to add to this half a cup of the heavy whipping cream. Booyah! Okay. Stir that around. And it's going to make a wonderful little sauce for our chicken. So I'm just going to bring that up to a boil, let it thicken a little bit, and then we're going to plate it up. Alright. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of the rice on the plate. I've got the chicken scallopini on top of that. I'm going to take some of the sauce and we're going to just spoon that over the top. I can do this left-handed without making a mess. Put some mushrooms on there first. Scatter those across the top. Like that. And just add some of the sauce on top of that. And there you go. Okay. If you don't want to do your chicken on top of a bed of rice, just do the chicken on the plate, do your rice in a separate bowl, and that'll be just fine. So there it is. Chicken scallopini with mushroom sauce on a bed of wild rice with apricots and walnuts. Hope you like this one. I think Joseph will like this one. I think Diane up in Tennessee is going to like this one too. So enjoy this.